Jake Daniels is a boy that's name will be all over the whole of the UK and right across the globe, because he's a 17-year-old footballer who plays for Blackpool. He's a striker, and he's come out basically to let everyone know he is gay. And there's been a huge amount of support right across the footballing world for the bravery of the boy to actually come out and state that he's gay. There have been, I think, over the last few years, suggestions that some other footballers were going to do it. He may well be the pioneer in the 21st century. I have, as a reporter, known about Justin Fashanu, and he played at Hearts as well, was accepted and loved by the Hearts players at the time. I was a reporter in Edinburgh, but it was difficult, at that time for him and maybe a couple of others who might well have suffered, because there wasn't the same safety net here and provisions and laws in place to try and protect them. But I still think, Jake and any others who step forward are in a sport that really is not up with the pace of being able to accept people as gay. I think our industry has got a bit to go.
I think you might be surprised. I know what you're saying, and I think there is still a machismo element.
I'm not talking about
football.
Logical thinking footballers or the logical people
You're talking about supporters.
I'm talking about fans.
Yeah, and I think,
and I'm talking about social media.
You took the words out of my mouth. I think we live in an atmosphere that's far more tolerant, far more welcomingly tolerant, which is the way it should be, far more inclusive. I think social media can be a cesspit, because people say things that they would never say to your face, that people say things that they would never say publicly. If their own face was known, quite often it's against a blanket of anonymity, when you can be as toxic and malevolent as you like without consequence. But I think he'll be prepared for that, and I would counter it by saying I think the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, which I think is fantastic to see for him. 17, it's a huge thing to do at that age, to come out. I think his teammates will have accepted it, his family will have accepted it, and I think there's probably a huge relief off his shoulders and being able to be open and be candid about it. And you would hope that as we go on, as we develop, that these things aren't actually talking points, that people are allowed to live their life and do what they want in their private lives and concentrate on their football, and they're afforded a privacy, because part of me thinks that maybe your hand can be forced in circumstances like that if there was maybe a whiff of someone getting a story and exposing it, which I think there's been kind of witch hunts like that, or suggestions of it before, which I think would be an intolerable pressure to be under, and I think it's desperately unfair.
Yeah, absolutely. Roughie, in the 80s, because of my love of music and involvement with it, I had lots of pals who were gay. I never blinked an eye and thought about, okay, you're gay, I'm going to treat you differently. I certainly would have been protective of them if they'd suffered abuse. But I've always looked at our industry and thought, we still have problems with racism and sectarianism. So why should we think it'll be any different for someone who's coming out and saying, look, I'm gay?
Yeah, again, it's that minority out there. I'm talking about spectators. I would know 100% the players that he's playing with will have no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Absolutely no problem. When you're in a team or a group, you buy into, the boys come out and you're going to help him in every way possible because he's your teammate and you're working with him day in, day out. So from that aspect, I don't think he's got a problem, but it's that minority that's out there for some reason. Just prey on it. Yeah,
absolutely. Just one little thing. It's a difficult thing, and I know some people would throw this question out there, Ali. Do you think there was a need for him to come out? I
did wonder that myself. I did. I wondered if maybe there was a danger of someone maybe bringing it to a media story, which I think would be very unfair.
Yeah.
Or maybe he has felt himself that
You don't want to live a lie?
And you don't want to feel that you're doing things
we keep
secretly.
hearing about it now, that people taking their life because
Yeah,
they don't want to
exactly.
they don't want to speak to people, they don't want to tell people. So you can imagine the release,
The pressure.
that he's got,
Absolutely.
and you move on and you handle it.
Yeah, fair play to Jake, and we wish him all the very best, and certainly hope he's not subjected to any abuse, homophobia around the UK and beyond. But I have my doubts, sadly, in this world in the 21st century. In some cases, I think we're going backwards.